This is the 18th season of Bass Talk Live. With your host, Matt Pangrath. BTL is brought to you by Lawrence, Bass Cat Boats, AFCO, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, and Pro Guide Batteries.
PTL, coming at you!
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. Recorded show today, currently on the Red River, backing up the Chesapeake with another juggernaut of a bass fishery in the middle of summer. Red River for the second Bassmaster Central Open of the 2022 season. Snakes, lily pads, frogs, all sorts of fun stuff. I'm interested to see if I will be finding a way to incorporate a spinning rod into that scenario. So, recorded show. I did mention at the end of last Wednesday show, or actually at the beginning of last Wednesday show, MLF obviously just wrapping up their season, the BPT on Mille Lacs. Jacob Wheeler notching his second Angler of the Year title over on the BPT, and there was a little bit of confusion among some of the anglers, and we'll actually be able to ask today's guest about this. As to how many lines you can use, how many baits you can use on those lines. And it seems like the further north you go, the more funky rules you have as far as what you can and can't fish with. So apparently Minnesota's got only one rod in the water at a time, and no like donkey rigs, like double fluke rigs, or Alabama rigs that have like teaser baits or anything on them. So I did get a press release at the very end of last week that said MLF issues a statement on the inadvertent Minnesota DNR violation at Mille Lacs. It says MLF Bass Rule 33 permits an angler to utilize a second line once per period, which is, I think, a very interesting rule. As long as it's 100% legal, that's where you have a fish hooked up and the guy once a period can go, holy cow, there's a school of fish under him, pick up another rod, push the button or open the bail, drop the rod down, and then it's a total rodeo. You got two fish on at the same time. I think it's makes for great viewing. But that is not allowed in Minnesota. It says there is an oversight or rule directly violated Minnesota's DNR regulations. We did not properly communicate with that to the anglers. Upon being made aware of the regulations, we immediately informed the Bass Pro Tour anglers in the competition that they had to cease using two lines for the remainder of the event. And it said we contacted the Minnesota DNR to clarify the verifications. And I guess Wheeler and AJ Jr. Both received citations from the Minnesota DNR for the violation of the two-line regulation. They have accepted their responsibility, paid their fines, and no further disciplinary action. So there, cut and dry press release there that MLF issued on the 14th about that. By now, that tournament just concluded, and we'll have a full recap of both the Elite Series and BPT seasons. But we'll just stay up in Minnesota. And today's guest has, I've heard his name for the last couple years. And, I've gone up and done the Crappie Chronicles with Adam Bartuzek in Minnesota. Got on the ice a little bit, and I've kind of started to follow. I went up and I did the St. Jude there on the Mississippi River. Hopefully the schedules will allow for me to do that again this year with Adam. This time we'll actually fish the current. I kind of stayed away from the current last time, and he's like, we're going to get our butt kicked even though you're going to be catching fish. And I was like, no, we're catching like 3-pounders. He's like, yeah, we need 3.5s, dude. And it's amazing the fishery that Mississippi River is up there. But anyway, Noah Schultz has won over the past 4 years. I think he's won close to $250,000, like 7 or 8 or maybe even more major tournaments, 3 or 4 boats, and he fished the first Central Open there. But I was like, dude, that would be a great guy to get on to talk about dominating at the regional level and how you get to that level against a lot of talented competition. So we'll bring Noah in now. Dude, you there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks for jumping on BTL. No, I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, we don't know each other very well. Heard your name a lot, especially when going through. I look at like the Alabama Bass Trail and Nichols Marine stuff that goes on like on the Wild West and one bass out west, and then kind of that northern like Minnesota area. And like every time I look up results, it's like you've won another boat, you've won another tournament, you're in the top 5 of something, and it's been pretty incredible over the past number of years. Like you are one of the few individuals who can actually say you are making money bass fishing, correct? Talk, give a little background, first of all, where you're from, what you do, how you got into this gig, and kind of how you ended up where you are now, where you're getting a lot of media exposure and a lot of 1099s.
Yeah, tax guys love me. Background, I've been fishing tournaments for probably 15 years, I'd say, mostly local, just little club derbies, Thursday nighters, jackpot tournaments. I think you guys call them, what do you call them, fruit jar tournaments or something like that?
Yeah, jackpots, fruit jars, turkey shoots.
I did them for quite a few years, and then I'm sure you've heard of Denny Super 30 on Minnetonka. That's kind of.
We're going to go through. So I had Ken Ma on a couple months ago, and we went through the whole tournament circuit out west so people could understand how that all works. I'm going to take you here after we kind of get the basis down. We're going to go over the whole tournament circuits up north in that Minnesota area so people can kind of get an understanding of what you're dealing with there. But go ahead.
So I moved to the Denny Super 30 on Minnetonka, and then you're fishing against Fighter and Felix and Douglas and all them guys, and that's where they cut their teeth. And then I had some success there, had a few wins, and was cashing checks. And then Champions Tour came out, which is the next level in Minnesota. And so naturally I progressed to the Champions Tour, and the rest has been history, more or less. I mean, the last 4 or 5 years have been pretty much a dream come true, and I'm just riding the wave and seeing where it takes me.
So 4 years on the Champions Tour. I've got like a little list here. 6 Champion Tour wins. 3 of those were championships, which was a boat, like a nice boat. Like what kind of boat are we talking about here?
Skeeter ZX200 with a 200 Yamaha show. I actually run them. I keep them when I run them.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're fishing out of a boat that you won to win another boat. So you've won boats out of boats that you've won.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like a dream scenario.
The first year I won the boat, I was fishing out of a 25-year-old gambler, and it was on its last leg. The week of practice for the championship, I actually blew a head gasket on the motor, and all the marine shops around were closed. Nobody had time to do anything because it was fall, so everyone's winterizing boats and pulling in boat lifts and stuff. And so I had to put a head gasket in the hotel, the parking lot, the night before the Derby, and I ran that boat and won the first boat.
Wait a second. So this would have been 2018 or 19?
Yep.
So 2019, you haven't won anything yet.
No.
Like what were
I won a regular season event on Leech.
But what were your like career tournament earnings before 2019?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't keep
Are we
track.
talking hundreds of thousands? Like, are you winning every local thing that you enter or competing? But I mean, you hadn't won any boats or anything before then.
No, there's at first I wasn't fishing for a lot of money. There's not a lot of money to be had locally, $1,000 here, maybe $1,500, probably the highest paid tournaments are around locally. And then Denny Super 30, $5,000 for first, won a few of them. So, I mean, maybe 20, 30 grand, maybe over my 10 years prior fishing tournaments, which isn't much if you think about it,
Yeah.
And then
you said this was on Minnetonka?
No, Minnetonka's not local for me.
Where's the one where you blew the head gasket? What lake?
Oh, that was on Bay Lake, just north of Mille Lacs.
Okay, so you're on Bay Lake, and you're like, are you dialed in? Like, right, you think you have a shot to win the thing?
I felt pretty comfortable, pretty happy with my practice. But then I blow my head gasket. It's like, great, Now
At what time?
I had 3 days left to practice at that point. So I didn't have a motor, so I was just using my trolling motor to practice, putzing around the lake with my trolling motor, trying to, you can't get very far on a trolling motor, so I'm just trying to fish where I can and waiting for the part to show up. Finally, the part came in the day before the tournament. And so there I am in the hotel parking lot, ripping into my engine, putting head gasket on and praying to God it worked the next morning so I could run.
How'd you know how to do that? Like, do you have a background in mechanical stuff?
No, I'm a pretty cheap cheap person, so I don't like paying people $100 an hour to work on my stuff. So just over the years, I've always fixed all my own vehicles and anything that goes wrong with the boat. And now I have a warranty on the boat, so
Do you have to like YouTube how to do that, or you just like naturally knew how to change a head gasket?
it actually ain't that difficult on a two-stroke. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So
How long did that take?
yeah, about an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
So you change it, and then you go out and you win the Derb.
Yep.
And that was kind of the start of all this.
That kind of kicked off the next 3.5, 4 years. Yep.
All right. So, yeah, 6 Champion Tour wins, 3 of them being championships. But you were the Champions Tour AOY in 21. You won the Blackfish in 19. That's another one of the kind of big one-off tournaments up in Minnesota.
10 grand for that one.
10 grand. You've won some Denny's Super 30s. It says here, I had you send it. You said a handful. Exactly how many would a handful be, Noah?
I don't know. I got the plaques out in the garage. There's
Are we talking like 3 or like 8?
no. I only fished it for 3 years.
Okay.
So probably, I think I won 2 and had maybe 3 or 4 seconds, maybe.
Holy cow. All right. So we kind of got a little bit of a view of what it's like in Minnesota, but you guys have a season, right? Unless it's a border fishery that's on a river. So like if it's between like Minnesota and Wisconsin, there's not you can catch bass there.
Like the Mississippi would be a border water.
Okay.
And that's open. There's no regulation. You can fish it all year round. But any inland waters in Minnesota, we have a season on.
Which is like what, May?
Middle of May it opens.
And then when does it close?
When the lakes freeze. Typically.
So you get May, June, July, August, September, and October.
And our tournament season is about 3 months long. It's pretty much, well, maybe 4 months, I guess. You got June, July, August, and then everything starts wrapping up in September.
So it's pretty much hot and heavy if you're a tournament angler up in Minnesota. You're rolling 3-4 months straight.
Yeah. You're go.
And then you have, I assume do you have BFLs in Minnesota?
I don't know. I think so, but I don't fish a lot of that stuff.
I don't ever remember seeing it. So you have the main ones that you would say up there are the St. Jude, which is a one-off team tournament.
Yep.
The Blackfish, is that a team tournament or individual?
You could fish it individually. It's a 5-fish limit, so you could fish it by yourself, but it's a team event.
And what lake is that on? Minnetonka. Yep. And then the Denny's Super 30s, those are individuals?
Team.
Okay, those are team, and those are all over the state?
Minnetonka.
Okay, Minnetonka, I'm 0-for-3 now. But so this is the one that's interesting. So then the Champions Tour is, and those are all either 5 or 6 fish, right? You have a lot of 6-fish tournaments up there. Is that just to cull out luck? Like, what's the deal with the 6?
Yeah, they used to, so Minnetonka is the hub of tournament fishing in Minnesota. That's where the the Seth Fighters, Austin Felixes, Josh Douglas, that's where they all cut their teeth. That's where if you want to prove yourself as an angler in Minnesota, you fish Denny Super 30 on Minnetonka, or any tournament on Minnetonka for that matter. Okay. And a lot of those tournaments they used to run 8 fish, but they recently dropped it to 6 fish. Like I said, to rule out that luck factor of someone catching a 6-pounder. You know, they wanted more fish to get rid of luck to see who's who, more or less.
A 6-pounder's big fish up there, regardless of where you are.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, but the Champions Tour is how long has it been going on now? Like
the first couple years were invite only, and then I'm trying to think here. I want to say 2017 could be the first year.
But it's like a production deal, and it's a catch, weigh, release format.
Yep.
So it's more of like the MLF format, but you end up having towards the end, like you have a camera boat in it, and is it a invitation only deal as well?
It used to be invitation only, and then the 1 year back in 2018 they opened it up, but didn't open it up. They had 2 events which they called opens, which would be similar to what Bassmaster Opens are, where you had to qualify to be on the tour.
Okay.
So that 2018 I fished those 2 events and I qualified to be on the tour. And you also qualified to fish the championship that year in 2018. So I've been on actual tour since 2019. So.
And how many events is it a year?
Right now it's 4, which includes the championship. So 3 regular season events plus the championship, so 4.
And entry fee is?
$1,000 a tournament, but the championship is free, so $3,000 to fish the year.
So $1,000 for an individual and up. It's gotta be okay. So a Toyota is $1,500 and Open's $1,800. Individual wise, it's got to be one of the top 10 entry fee trails in the country.
Mm-hmm. I would compare it. I would, yeah. I mean, especially if you look at the championship. I mean, they cut the field. There's only 25 of us that fish the championship, and you're fishing for a $55,000 fully rigged, ready to put in the water skeeter. You know.
And you've won 3 of those. Is it different fishing like right now? We're recording this. The BPT is going on at Mille Lacs. We've seen Angler of the Year championships at Mille Lacs before, which is the 5 fish. Obviously, we saw what Seth Feider's done there before, 26, 27 pounds. We've seen giant fish. It's interesting the haves and have-nots in this BPT event up there. But Minnesota seems to be a pretty interesting catch rate release format state because of how many bites you can get on some of these fisheries.
Yeah. We had a tournament last year on Pelican Lake in Orr, Minnesota, which is a very northern part of the state. And the guy that won it, Adam Rasmussen, he had over 200 pounds.
In a day?
In one day, in 8 hours. It was insane.
Hold on a second here.
Over
200 pounds.
I want to say it was 232, if I remember right. I could be wrong.
232. And you fish for 7.5 or 8 hours. Do you do the whole period thing, or?
Yep, we do 2 4-hour periods. We take a break.
Okay. So halves. So you fish full. So that's 3. 232 divided by 8. That's 29 pounds an hour.
Yeah, it was. He was catching them every cast pretty much all day long.
Holy cow! That's 10 3-pounders an hour.
Yeah. So we've seen some big weights over the year.
What's your biggest weight that you've had?
99, I think.
Just shy of a hundo.
Yeah. So typically, most of these tournaments, you see anywhere from 70 to 90 pounds wins usually in a one-day event.
I gotcha. Let's take our first break. And when we get back, we've kind of set the stage. We know what it's like. We know how much you've won there. I want to get into what you think it takes to be a good regional angler. I know you jumped into the first Open this year, the Bassmaster Open. They're kind of expanding outside of Minnesota, but there's a lot of guys who don't fish the Opens. They don't fish the Toyotas. They're not traveling around, but if you can win $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year at home fishing around the house. But there's got to be something. I've interviewed a couple of these guys now, and there's got to be some kind of common thread other than being a really good fisherman that allows you to be that consistent over a long period of time. So talking with Minnesota's Noah Schultz, it is BTL on a Monday. We'll be back right after this.
Your key to better fishing this season is Elite FS, now available at a new lower price. Get Elite FS9 today for $9.99, and we'll throw in a C-Map reveal chart, our premium mapping solution, for free. Elite FS works with all state-of-the-art Lowrance sonar, from chirp, side scan, and down scan imaging with fish reveal to high-resolution active target live sonar. Elite FS9 and C-Map reveal. Offer ends August 31st.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
We're just about ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Get in order.
Once again, Drew Cook is in the driver's seat.
When you're catching fish for a living, you can't let a little cold, rain, heat, humidity, or anything else get in the way of a payday. I wear APCO. Any fish, any water.
The KVD 100 jerkbait. 15 different colors. A perfect combination of roll, wiggle, and flash. Increased castability. 3D eyes. Premium black nickel hooks. KVD. Tie one on. Striking lures.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? Well, the Bass Tank is here to help you. The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
All right, we're back. BTL talking with Noah Schultz, talking, kind of set the stage in the first segment, a little bit about how you go about winning $250,000 in the last 4 years in Minnesota. Would you say that it seems like for a long time it was like Jim Moyna was up there? I talked a little bit with Austin Felix about this, but he just won up there. You've got Josh Douglas. I guess you want to go old school. You got Derek Remitz, sod farmer from Minnesota that came, and then he ended up moving to Gunnersville afterwards, but he's a Minnesota guy. And then obviously the Angler of the Year, Seth Feider. But it really seems like Seth has done an incredible job in kind of opening the doors of Minnesota to the rest of the country and kind of showing the rest of the bass fishing community what Minnesota has to offer, both from a fishery standpoint and from a angler talent standpoint. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think so.
Was he like a legend up there before he became well known, or mean, what was Seth like in Minnesota before he was Angler of the Year Seth Feider?
He dominated mostly everything. He was the guy to beat. He went to Minnetonka. Him and John Figge were the team to beat always. So he dominated quite a bit of tournaments for quite a few years around here.
What do you think made him so good?
I have no idea. Driven. Wants to be the best. I don't know. Time on the water. There's no one answer to it. I have no idea.
All right, we're going to try to find those answers now, because you've had crazy amount of success, and like I said, I've had a couple people say, "Hey, Noah Schultz is the next thing that's going to come out of Minnesota." And I guess it starts with, you did sign up for the Central Opens this year, the 3 of those. Was that just based as a result of wanting to take this to the next level, or what was the reasoning behind jumping into the Opens?
Obviously the dream is, I've been watching Bassmasters since back in the day, TNN and Bob Cobb, and it's been. I was raised on Bassmasters. My dad was a bass fisherman. My grandpa was a bass fisherman. So it's been in my life, my whole life. So it's always been a dream of mine, and the elites would be the ultimate goal. So I figured I'd dabble in the Opens, and I would just do one division just to kind of give it a feel and see how it went, see if I liked it. And first one didn't go too good down at Ross Barnett. I think I finished 63rd, but I was sicker than a dog, and I can give you every excuse in the book, why I didn't have any success. But it was just a rough experience for me all around, and just didn't end very well. And being 63rd, I watch you guys all the time, and you always break down the points and all that stuff. And
it's depressing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I already knew, okay, I'm out of it. I'm not going to qualify for the elites. So with that, being said, I pulled out of the last 2, because why spend that kind of money if you don't have the ultimate goal is to be on the Elite Series, obviously. And if you're not going to qualify, I'm going to put my money somewhere else. And there's a lot of big local tournaments left in the year to fish. So I'm going to fish for money around home, and hopefully it ends well for the season.
What was your experience level outside of Minnesota?
0.
That's the first time.
I don't even have an experience in Minnesota until I fished the Champions Tour. I was just fishing local lakes, 1,000-acre lakes around home. And once I started doing the Champions Tour, every single lake that I fished on the Champions Tour was brand new to me. I didn't even have hardly any smallmouth experience. So I'm still learning as I go.
So what do you think it is that has made you so successful in the past 4 years? Can't say I don't know. That's not you. Can't. You have to break this down because I mean you got guys who are veterans, guys who fish everything, study everything that they can, and you're like kicking some serious butt.
I guess there's a couple. I mean, the biggest thing I do is ignore dock talk. I don't get caught up in how people are catching them or why they're catching them or where they're catching them or send me this waypoint, send me that waypoint. I completely block all that out and I just fish the lake how I think it should fish. And I find a lot of times I find myself fishing fish that other people aren't or fishing areas that other people aren't. And I think that's a big part of it.
Really? Is there, you go to all these lakes that are, I mean, there's very popular, like you said, Minnetonka, very popular tournament lakes in Minnesota. Is it usually fish pretty small? Are there usually pretty much areas that guys always go to where it goes down in and you've kind of bucked that trend over the last couple of years?
Yeah, there's definite community holes in Minnetonka, and there's a lot of them, and they get pounded, and I tend to stay away from that kind of stuff, and I tend to stay, like I said, I stay away from the high percentage areas, like the big main lake point and the tip of that point. You watch boat after boat after boat fish it. I won't even go near it because, number one, you're going to waste time in practice. Number two, if you do catch fish there, you're going to have 100 boats come behind you in practice and beat up that school. So more than likely on tournament day, it's not going to be very good, I just try to kind of stay away from stuff like that and just kind of find my own deal, my own pattern or my own area that's kind of off the beaten path.
You do a lot of like Google Earth research, or you just get on the water and go where it takes you?
Just get on the water and go where it takes me, more or less. I mean, I'll watch a little bit of stuff on YouTube and stuff like that, but I don't want to get too dialed in before I get to the lake, because that can end pretty badly sometimes. If you do so much research, you go there and you think you have to catch them this way and you have to do these things, and usually doesn't end very well. So I just kind of keep it open mind when I go. I'll look at them. I'll get in my boat and I'll sit there and look at the map and stuff like that and the structure and stuff like that. But as far as like techniques go, how people catch them, how people fish the lakes and areas and stuff like that, I kind of tend to shy away from that kind of stuff.
It's interesting. I had Gerald Spohr on a couple weeks ago, a BPT pro. He also fished the Elite Series. He really likes up north. His favorite lake is actually Champlain. He didn't start tournament fishing until he was in his 20s. And he kind of talked about the same process of that, really went into the preconceived notions of having a core set of baits that work under any conditions that you have confidence in, spread out on the front deck, but not going into your practice or the tournament saying, this is what I'm going to do, this is where I'm going to go. And it seems like you kind of take that same approach. Are there certain things that you always have laid out on the deck, though, that that you're going to have tied on regardless? Mm-hmm.
There's I always have probably 6-7 rods for largemouth that I always have tied up and laid out ready to go. And smallmouth, I'm probably, like I said, I'm still learning smallmouth. Where I'm from, we have one lake that's got 5 smallmouth in it.
Really?
Everyone's caught them 100 times. So it's all largemouth fishing down here. So for smallmouth, I keep it pretty simple, drop shot, Ned rig. We have a thing up here because we'll get into that later about the laws. We fish a Minnesota rig, we call it. We don't call it Alabama rig. It's got one hook. I'll have that, and I'll have a crankbait and a jerkbait. That's about it for my smallmouth fishing.
Okay. So, largemouth stuff, anything secret? I mean, are you using stuff that these other guys aren't using, do you think? Do you have something in your back pocket?
There's a few things I really lean on more than others that I don't want to talk about, but
okay.
So it's very competitive around here. So there's a few things I kind of keep to myself, and
I've mentioned this.
I don't know if it matters or not, but
I've talked about this before with the northern guys. Seth kind of blew it out of the water too. Is the ringed hook?
Yeah,
Are you a ringed hook type of guy? Are you upset that I'm even talking about the ringed hook now? I feel like everyone does it now, though. Every guy from Minnesota that I see now has a ringed.
You'd be surprised
hook.
at how many people don't do it still.
You think that makes that much of a difference?
Flipping, I do.
Why?
The bait moves more freely, I think, and you get better hookup.
All we're talking about is just an offset hook, and then there's just a stainless steel ring. Think of a split ring, except it doesn't have the split ring part that you can get your knot stuck in, and then you just Texas rig it on the ring. It's basically like flipping a wobble head, for lack of a better.
Pretty much. It just moves. It moves much more freely. I don't know how to explain it. It just gives it more of a free movement, and it just looks. I feel like it looks more appealing in the water. It's just not a straight blob falling down.
I got you. So you're a largemouth first guy then, is what it sounds like. If there's a fishery that you can target the largemouth on, that seems to be your wheelhouse. Or have you had success equally on both largies and smallies?
I've had success split. I won a boat on Mille Lacs.
This makes no sense.
I don't know. I don't know either. I'm still trying to figure out this. I'm more of a pattern guy. Like,
okay,
if I can get, whether it's largemouth or smallies, if I can get something dialed in, and it seems like you can roll with it.
Do you okay? Now it's starting to make sense. Do you think that you said growing up a lot, you fish smaller stuff, but you fish a lot of smaller fisheries, right? 1,000-acre fisheries. So Minnesota, high fish population, they only have like 5 months to eat, and they're like popsicles the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So aggressive fish, right?
Yeah, very aggressive.
Land of 10,000 lakes, so not a lot of pressure on some of those. Do you think that you have had the ability to figure out patterns and then roll with that quicker because you're fishing these smaller bodies of water where you're able to dissect, find patterns, and get feedback more so than the average guy who's just out on Minnetonka or even like a Grand Lake or something and just grinding day in, day out on a massive body of water? Do you think you've been able to take something small, master it, and then apply it to the bigger fisheries?
Absolutely. It's like where I live, we're super spoiled. I live a block away from a lake where you can go out and it's not uncommon to have 100 fish days. And they're not small fish. They're, 2.5 to 5 pounds. And then they're average 3.5 to 4, a lot of them. And it's
holy cow.
Yeah. So you go out there to learn. You go out there and which hook is better, which line is better, is this rod better for this application, and is a Nico rig better than a drop shot? Do they like this jig over that jig? And like anything you need to work on or you're lacking in, you can just I can drive a block and I can work on my weaknesses. And I do that a lot. Like when I'm not tournament fishing, my fun fishing is going out and working on what I'm not very good at.
Because you always get feedback. Yeah,
you're constantly catching fish.
Like where I grew up in Illinois, like if you caught 3 in a tournament, you're like, I'm getting paid. like one time I remember I was like, oh my gosh, it's my first limit. And I'd been fishing club tournaments for like 3 years.
Yeah, it's not like
that in Minnesota.
I mean, it's getting a little bit tougher now because we're getting more pressure with the explosion of the bass fishing industry and the popularity of it. So these fish are getting a lot more pressure now. But I mean, still, every tournament around here, if you don't have 20 to 23, 22 pounds, you don't feel safe. You don't think you have a shot at winning.
There has been a big boom you've noticed in the last 5 years since you started getting into it.
Yeah, a big boom.
What do you think that is a result of?
I mean, I guess you could say COVID because people had nothing else to do. So people started fishing. That's the only thing I can think. I have no idea, but it just really took off. And high school angling too. I mean, locally around here, we're starting to see a lot of high school teams pop up, Back when I was in high school, it wasn't cool. You had to keep it a secret, Me and my buddy would go out fishing. We wouldn't tell nobody. It was a secret. But
I'm intrigued with this start small. So like we do a instructional day every single day with Frank Scalish, and he comes on and one of his big things that he always does is he always takes a big arm of a lake or big lake and then takes a smaller section of. He fishes a lot of small lakes in Ohio, but he teaches how to take a section of a giant lake and treat it like a smaller lake. Basically do what you've done right there, which is the hardest thing because if they're not, but you can run. I mean, there's like no rules. Like that's the cool thing. It's not like there's no stop signs, there's no traffic jams. You can, and no one to tell you where to go. But I think that's super overlooked is taking something small and mastering it and then applying those same strategies to the bigger picture.
That's what I think has been a big key to my success is being spoiled and have it's not just this lake either. I have lakes all over that I can any day of the week I can go drive and go to a different lake and they all fish pretty well. Like you can go out and catch 30, 40, 50 fish. Like it's not a big deal at all to go do that, even in a tournament.
You mentioned time on the water. One of the reasons why you think Seth, and what was his partner's name? I've heard his partner's name a lot too.
John Figgy.
And he smokes them.
Oh yeah, he fishes a Champions Tour.
Does he still smoke them?
Oh yeah. We were head to head last year on Mille Lacs, and In the last 10 minutes, I caught a 4 and a 5 on back-to-back casts and etched them out.
Young dude like Seth or older dude?
I'd say he's our age, 38 probably, if I had to guess.
Okay.
Mid to upper 30s.
Has he ever tried to go anywhere?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe he fished the Opens a few years back when he was running with Seth. I don't know.
Okay. Dang, I don't know where I was going with that. I had somewhere I wanted to go with that. Oh, okay. So when you fished the Open then, first time outside of Minnesota, did you try to apply that same stuff to Ross Barnett, and did it work? Or was it just a clown show down there? Kind of like what I experienced, where I was like, oh, look, I can count 38 boats. Or were you able to get away? You were able to get away and do your own thing on Ross Barnett even?
Yep. I was surprised. Actually, my first day co-angler, he kind of made me feel bad because I found an area with a lot of fish. Like in practice, I was getting a lot of bites and had a lot of fish in one area. It was up near the Pearl River there, run under whatever bridge that was, running north, going to the bridge, run up another mile up in the Pearl River, some backwater.
That was all blown out in practice.
It was, but the water started to clear up and started to drop. And I found an area with a lot of fish. Like I figured I'd go up there and get 13 to 15 pounds pretty easily.
Wow.
And I get in there and I had the whole place to myself both days, all day. Nobody was in there.
How'd you find that? Did you find it on Map Study? Did you find it during practice? Like what made you go up there?
Just fishing around during practice and just stumbled into an area where I got a few bites. And then I started to dial in and really pick the area apart and started to learn that there's a lot more fish in the area than I thought there was.
Okay.
On day one of the tournament, I think the water dropped just a little too much on day one. I think those fish pulled out, moved out. And it was tougher. I think I had 4 fish on day one. And day 2, I had 5. I had like a 4 or something and dropped another 4 boat side. I mean, I touched it with my hand and it come off. So that was devastating. But yeah, but
there was something weird the way those fish were biting that week. I don't think I talked to anybody who didn't dump fish, and it wasn't like they were missing them. It was like they were either picking it up and zipping with it like Mach 12 speed, or you'd hook them, you'd get them halfway back to the boat, and they would come off.
Well, the big one I lost, I had them. I was flipping a jig, and this is actually at the end of the day. On the second day, I was flipping a jig. I ran into a marina just to burn some time at the very end and flipping on a retaining wall and set the hook. There must have been like a water intake pipe or something like that, and she got wrapped around it. So I'm pulling. I finally get it all the way to the surface, and I see her. She's laying on her side on this pipe. And as soon as I touched her, she ran and popped the line.
Oh.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was rough. But it had to make you feel good that you're able to take what you've been so successful in Minnesota with and apply it to a tough fishery in Mississippi.
Yeah. But at the same time, this stuff I talk about, going down to these local lakes here and catching 100 fish, I also feel like it's a bad thing too, because these lakes around where I live are spot lakes because they're so small. The fish only live in certain areas. So you got a rock pile, those fish live on a rock pile. You got a brush pile, they live on that brush pile. Where you go to these massive bodies of water, which I'm learning now over the years, is those fish tend to move a lot more and patterns change a lot quicker. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like day to day, things are different. Where around home, I can go to that same rock pile 7 days a week and get bit.
I got you.
On bigger bodies of water. That was something I had to learn going into these bigger events like the Champions Tour and stuff like that. I'm getting better at that now. I'm not getting so die hard on one pattern or die hard on one spot. I'm keeping more of an open mind and moving more and pulling the plug on stuff and just going fishing. And so
a lot of gut instinct stuff. That's where I was going with before with the Seth thing was, do you have like a job or are you like fishing now? I mean,
No, I have a job. For years, 20 years, I was in the agriculture industry and did that for 18 or 20 years and quit. And me and my wife started our at-home business. We sell stuff online.
Okay.
And so I pretty much work all winter long, and then fishing season comes. If I'm not cashing checks, I got to work. But if I'm cashing checks,
I got you.
Life is good. Life is good if I'm winning. If I'm winning tournaments and I'm making money, I can just keep fishing and keep fishing and keep fishing. Like I haven't actually worked in probably over a month now, and I'm just getting ready. I was on Mille Lacs the other day, and yesterday. Now I'm getting ready to go back up for an event I got on there on Saturday, and then I roll right from that one. I roll to another tournament on the other side of the state called Big Stone for Minnesota Bass Heads for another 10 grand, and come home from that, be home for a few days, and I got an obligation up north I got to do, and just so it's cool, you know. It's afforded me the ability to take some load off myself in the summer and not work, as long as I'm cashing checks. If I don't cash checks, then I'm working. But so I put myself in a position to be able to fish if I need to fish or want to fish.
So you're doing the same thing all the good guys are doing. You're spending a lot of time on the water, 5-6 days a week, taking what you've learned, applying it, rolling on to the next one, using the momentum, learning from the mistakes, getting back on the water day in, day out, day in. You're not having to stop for 5 or 6 days, then restart and figure out what's going on. It's kind of like one big roll. I
don't fish as much as most people think, because I've got 7 kids at home. So
Wait,
two of them
what?
two of them are older, but we have 5 little ones. So I'm more of a dad than I am a fisherman. So
wow.
Yeah, we're busy.
Do they all like to fish too?
Yep. Yeah. But one of the oldest boys, he's my tournament partner for a lot of the stuff around home.
Oh, that's cool.
We fish tournaments together around home. So
what are their age ranges?
20 to a few months old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes this thing even more impressive, what you've been able to do. I just thought it was you and your wife rolling around, selling stuff and fishing every day.
No, and they travel with me too. So everywhere I go, if we run somewhere for a week for an event, we load the whole family up and they come with too. So
all right. That's interesting.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take our final break of the show when we come back. Well, that kind of changes the last segment, because I wanted to get into your plans for the future, where you see yourself, where you see this going, and what your goals are on the water, since you've accomplished everything you can accomplish in Minnesota, pretty much. So, all right, BTL with Noah Schultz. We'll be back right after this.
The new Android series is the peak of the Denali lineup and offers the ultimate Denali experience. The Android series features 36-ton multi-directional graphite combined with interlock blank technology for added strength. Each rod is outfitted with Royal titanium guides that will not fail. The blank is fitted into an easy-touch, soft-feel EVA foam grip with exposed blank reel seat. This all allows the Android to transmit every movement of your bait and even the most subtle bites. The Android series is the finest rod Denali has ever made and offers an angler the ultimate fishing experience with a limited lifetime warranty. See the full lineup of Android rods at denalirods.com.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
And the Kamikaze Swim-On is a perfect match for any vibrating jig. 2 sizes and the unique tail design gives it a bait fish profile and a great swimming action for realism. There are 17 colors. See them all at bigbitebaits.com.
The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro's coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got sparkle shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the matte sexy shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look, that matte sexy shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
Combining one of the most popular hook styles with Gamakatsu's beefier Superline offering, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend delivers the strength necessary to target big fish in heavy cover. Well suited for braided line and heavier fluorocarbon, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend is built using stronger Superline wire that allows anglers to easily fish a finesse worm around heavy cover. The round bend offers a larger bite area, perfect for any worm presentation, while increasing your hookup ratios. The newly enhanced Z-bend holds your plastics on the hook longer, reducing the number of pull-offs and reducing damage to plastics. Available in 2/0, 3/0, 4/0, and 5/0, this is the most durable worm hook, designed for heavier lines that hold your bait on longer.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
Welcome back, BTL, with Noah Schultz. I'm actually on the Champions Tour YouTube channel. You guys do a really good job of creating a... Does that also air on TV up there?
No, it doesn't. It's only on YouTube.
And they do a really good job of producing a product for each one of those Champions Tour events and even it. Let's see if I could share.
Yeah, they do an awesome job. Adam Bartusik, he's the videographer, and him and his team do a phenomenal job.
There it is right there. It's like a long thing. There's all sort. I mean, it goes through. It's like, there you are, right there. Oh, you're throwing a spinning rod.
Yep.
I even saw here. You weren't kidding. They did like a little feature on you. There's one win. There was one with all the kiddos.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if I could show that. Oh, this is like a little whole preview on your whole. We got to watch this 1 second. Here it comes.
Yeah, they do some amazing work with the video.
Did I go past it again?
Yeah, you went past it.
Anyway, that's cool stuff right there. I would encourage anybody to go into onto YouTube, and it's just under Classic Bass Champions Tour, and they've got all of the 2022 and the previous years. The one just dropped about 4 days ago, which was the championship on Serpent Lake. How big is that lake?
1,000 acres.
And you guys had how many anglers out on it?
25.
That's not cool.
That's tight.
Getting in each other's kitchen, couldn't you?
That was the intention, though. They did that on purpose. They wanted us to fish tight and close quarters and see who could handle the pressure.
Does the catchway release format on that Champions Tour allow you guys to go to a lot more different venues and not have to worry about boxing fish and stuff like that?
Yeah, like Mille Lacs.
Okay.
We were able to fish Mille Lacs, but a lot of our lakes, I think only a couple lakes in the state of Minnesota are catch and release. There's not very many of them. So
okay. Are you consider yourself like a Mille Lacs expert or something based on our conversation? I feel like you probably haven't spent a lot of time out there.
No, before the championship out there, I fished the lake one time. So wow. I fished the lake twice in my life, and now I got a tournament. No, I take that back. 3 times in my life now I've fished that lake.
Is that the one Austin's fishing this weekend too? Austin Felix?
Yeah, he'll be up there. We're fishing that against each other. Unfortunately, he'll probably take my money.
Kind of the last segment here. Then, what you mentioned that you wanted to do this. Bass has come out with the 9. You have to fish all 9 to qualify. MLF just came out with some interesting changes to their pro circuit. I mean, in order to get to the Elite Series, the BPT, even the Pro Invitational level now, like you've got to make some serious sacrifices and have a lot of coin. What's the game plan? What does it look like for you? I mean, you are what I guess these organizations are targeting. You're an up and coming top level regional angler with some disposable income from your earnings who's really wants to give it a go. Where do you see yourself right now? What's the plan? What's the next move?
We've had a lot of conversations, the wife and I, lately about it, and with Bass doing what they did with all 9 or none, you don't qualify. That's you're taking a family guy like me, a normal working dude. It's to fork up $40,000. I don't know.
3.5 months away.
And it's
4, 8,
I don't know.
2 months.
I want to do it, but it's almost impossible to. I don't come from money. I don't have money, so
you're kind of stuck right now. Like you're winning around there, but you want to expand your horizons, but you're not sure what the right move is.
I don't want to gamble my life savings either.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No, so it's if I was single, if it was just me and the wife, I'd let's go do it. Worst comes to worst, you lose your money and whatever, But you got kids that depend on you too, so it's a hard choice to make, and I don't know what that choice is going to be yet. So
I would I don't see how I want to say this here. I would venture to say hang tight, and I think you'll have some avenues in the near future.
I hope so.
I think we're going to see some announcements coming down the pipeline soon that is it's going to give the kind of grassroots guy, the regional guy, a chance to make that happen without, like I said, sacrificing 7 kids and a career and a job and your life savings.
Yeah, or your house.
Yeah, it's weird because we're in the same, we're the same age there. You got a lot of stuff going on, but like, I mean, this is just what I do. So I'm kind of on it as to like, that's where all my disposable income goes, and non-disposable income, but that's where my disposable income goes.
I mean, it is the dream. That's all. It's all I think about. I don't have any other hobbies. I have my kids, my wife, and then my hobby is fishing, and all I do. I don't watch sports. I don't do anything else. Everything I'm watching, consume on TV and YouTube is fishing related. So
interesting.
But you don't want to sacrifice too much either. So I gotta make the right choice, I guess.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, especially when the schedule comes up. If there's anything up that way, also in Minnesota. But it sounds like you're a classic Elite Series guy, as far as bass side.
Yeah. But that's that. The wife, she's like, why don't you go to FLW and do the BPT thing because you're good at that. Look at the success you've had.
Yeah, you're very good at that.
But my heart is with Bassmasters, as most people are. I'm a diehard. I grew up watching TNN Outdoors with Bob Cobb and Bassmaster. I've watched that my whole life. That's what I've always followed. Not that I don't watch BPT. I've been watching.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's very interesting. Because obviously that kicked off in 2019. We're almost 5 years into this now. We've seen a lot of changes, a lot of good things. I enjoy watching it as well, but I feel like if you're gonna, and I said this is just me talking. You don't have to give your input here, but I'll say it. You just nod. You don't even have to nod your head, but I'll say it. I feel like if you're gonna pit them head to head, right, Bass and MLF, and I think that it is pitted head to head. You've seen press releases from organizations that literally compare themselves to the other organizations, saying, "Hey, we are better than you in this standpoint." They are clashing head to head. But I think, but I think that MLF underestimated the importance and value put on history.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that at the beginning, and a lot of those guys that are over there are the ones that created that history, which is some of the irony in it, right? But you mentioned the Bob Cobb and the TNN, and this is the Bassmasters, and all of the Jim bitter stuff. Everything that's just gone down, and Kirchhoff winning it, and the formation of the Elite Series, and it's something that you don't really realize is ingrained in you until it's not there anymore, or until there's another option. I think we're seeing it in golf too with the PGA versus Live. You're seeing a lot of, why are these people not liking Live? Take away the Saudi blood money out of it. And it's just because there's no history to it. They're trying to build that history. Now, if maybe you've got kids who are watching it and stuff, dude, they could be huge MLF, BPT fans in the future because they're growing up with that history, but we grew up with the Bass history.
Yep.
So it's absolutely nothing against that organization, but they're just fighting against change, which bass fishermen hate change, and they're fighting against the history and the background and the decades. Because I was the same way, man. Like, I went to the Bassmaster Classic in 1998, and it was like done after that. It was all about the Bassmaster Classic.
I've never been to a classic. Yeah.
Is that intentional or just haven't made it out?
Just haven't traveled to one. I don't know why, but I watch them all. Obviously, I watch all the live coverage of every tournament. If I'm not out fishing, I watch every minute of every live coverage. I've been watching Mille Lacs the last couple of days all day.
Learn
long.
a lot from that. Like, have you picked up little things from the live coverage?
I would say live is more valuable than people give it credit for, as far as learning, because it's not just what they say. You watch what they're doing too. I feel like you learn more from that than what you would on a YouTube clip about somebody talking about something. I just watch how they act and I watch. I don't know how to explain it.
So you think you've put more fish in the boat because of live?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's almost like homework.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh. Will you go back and watch, like, if you have something to do, practice something with the kids, will you go back and watch like replays of it and all that too, just to make sure you get it all in?
Mm-hmm. I consume a lot.
You are ate up with it. That's the one thing. Everybody who is top level at this, I just filmed a deal with Dave Mercer. We were talking about Polinick and Wheeler, who's going to end up with more Angler of the Years, and you do a bunch of these interviews, and you find the guys who are consistently at the top consumed with it.
Mm-hmm. I can't help it. That's why I don't hunt. I don't do anything else. I don't watch any sports. I'll wake up every morning like 4 o'clock, make some coffee, fire up the YouTube, and watch bass fishing videos.
So what makes you think what keeps you from getting burned out? I get that question a lot, right? I do BTL. When I'm not doing BTL, I fish. When I'm not fishing, I'm scheduling for BTL. I'm working on tackle. My job, my hobbies, everything is like all one and the same. I mean, I like to golf and stuff a little bit, but it's fishing. What do you think has kept you from getting burned out through almost 4 decades?
Oh, I would say the competition is what keeps me going, what drives me. I want to win, and I want to win, and I want to win. That's what keeps me going. And the only way to do that is to keep consuming, media, and consuming what's out there for content, and learning and growing. And that's I don't know. I don't get burnt out. I love it, and I don't get sick of it. When I go practice, like yesterday, I ran to Mille Lacs. It's a 3 hours drive for me. I got up at 1 a.m, left the house about 2:30, 2 o'clock, gassed up. I got to Mille Lacs at sunrise. Fished all day till about 7 o'clock, 7:30 at night, and I drove home. I do that a lot.
Are you a guy are you fishing against the lake and your abilities and having a productive day to the best of your abilities? Or are you a guy who's like, I want to beat Jim. I'm doing whatever I can to beat Jim or Tom or whoever it is. Do you look at it as versus the fish, or is it the beating the other guys that drives you more?
I hear a lot that people say you're fishing against the fish and not the other anglers, and I think you're fishing against the other anglers.
I'm kind of the same way. Like I fished a Sunday deal here on Keystone with my buddy Robert, and we were like, we just wanted to beat Brock and TJ. I mean, that's what drove us.
Yeah, I have small goals like that every tournament. I gotta make sure I beat this guy before I can win.
I don't know. I think that's just how different people are wired, but we just did not want to come back to the way it is. And that's out of respect, right? Like, they're buddies. They're really good out there. They win a lot. They win thousands of dollars out there. But like that was what kept us going when we had 4 in the box with an hour left is, Brock and TJ have a limit. We need to buckle down and put one in the box.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So, sponsorship wise, I'm really curious. a lot of publicity, like I said, on the shows for the Classic Bass. Do you have paying sponsors? Do you have people who support you? Has anything happened over the last 4 years as you win more and more tournaments?
I didn't even, sponsors weren't even on my radar until I figured that I could bring value to them first and prove myself. So I didn't really even put any emphasis on sponsorship until really this last year is when I really started to put effort towards it, and I have a handful of sponsors now. I don't have 20. I just have a handful, but they're really good sponsors, and they're products that I've always been using and still use, and that's why, I decided to partner with them. And
you can feel free to mention them. I mean, it's a BTO.
Yeah, I have Humminbird Minn Kota, which have been
okay. Dude, everyone up north is Humminbird Minn Kota. Like I went to that St. Jude, and it was like everyone pulled up to the bank, and it was just 360 bird, like as far down as you could see. Like there was like one black sheep that didn't have 360. And I was like, holy cow! But man, they have that market nailed up there.
I've been Humminbird since my first graph. I don't know how many years ago it was. I've been running Humminbird since forever. And it's been a blessing to get them to come on board, working with Tim Price and, over there at Minn Kota Humminbirds. And then I've been using Kistler rods on and off for quite a few years, and I partnered with Kistler this year. That's been phenomenal. And, a lot of people that know me, I've fished with a lot of junk over the years. I fished with hand-me-down stuff. Got to buy used stuff from my buddies after they got done using it. And so now I've got good equipment, which has been phenomenal this year. Big, that's a big deal. I used to have like 8 rod and reel combos, and that's all I had. And they're all 10 to 15 years old, and they're all garbage and junk. And now I have more than I could use. And then I partnered with Bagley. I've been running Bagleys since I was a kid. My dad used to throw Bagleys. I threw Bagleys and partnered with them. And
they've been coming out with some new crankbaits lately, haven't they? They've really kind of upped their game as far as combining what people liked about the quote old school Bagleys and incorporating some new technology into some of their new baits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've been a big player for me too, and I've actually won a lot of money on their crankbaits. The boat I won last year on Mille Lacs, a big part of that was I caught some real. I think I caught 3 or 4 big smallies, like 4-pounders on a square bill on a Bagley B1. And that wasn't like my primary pattern, but catching those fish dialed me into what was going on, which led me to win the tournament, And then Blackfish Gear, the apparel brand up here in Minnesota, partnered with them last year too. So it's been, I don't have a lot, but I have good quality sponsors.
Yeah,
that's really important to me. So,
do you do the ice fishing thing? I mentioned that at the beginning, that's how I kind of got a little bit plugged into the Minnesota scene.
Yeah, I do. I didn't do it a lot last year because now I used to ice fish a lot, every day. I'd go out and drill 200 holes, and I'd be that crazy guy out there running around 20 below, hole hopping. But now I'm putting more focus on working all winter long to get some money saved up so I can fish more in the summer. But I plan on doing more ice fishing this year than I did last year. So I do ice fish.
You don't seem like a huge social media guy to me, but do you have like an Instagram or anything?
I just started social media about a year ago.
It's kind of the vibe I was getting. Do you have an Instagram though?
Yeah. Yep. No Schultz fishing. Yep. Instagram, Facebook. The wife does a lot of that stuff for me. I don't know how to do it. She'll give me the phone, set it all up, and then I'll type what I need to say or want to say. But she runs my social media for me.
I'm following you now. Oh yeah, you got to get some more followers on there. You're doing good stuff. Hey, if we can get Frank Scalish, we can get Frank Scalish to answer. If we can get Frank Scalish to answer DMs, there's hope for you. All right. Anything else you want to get in here? No, this has been pretty intriguing interview. I greatly appreciate the time that you took to jump on BTL, and it's not too often you get to talk to someone that successful that recently over the past 4 or 5 years. But yeah, $250,000 just in Minnesota alone.
That's cash and prizes. It's not all cash though. So
just say $250,000.
Sounds.
Do you have a trophy room? That's my next question. You have a trophy room?
I got. If you can see, here's some of it.
Oh, you got big checks.
I got them spread all around the house, in the garage. The wife loves it. She lets me keep the big ones in the house, and the smaller ones got to go out into the garage.
Well, if you're all fishing and not hunting, she doesn't have to worry about racks and ducks
there's
and
no
stuff.
mounts
It's
anywhere.
just no mounts, just trophies, and those all equate to cash. So
I fish for trophies, man. The checks are nice, but the hardware lasts forever.
there you go, Noah Schultz. I think that's a great quote to end it on.
Yep.
Thanks for jumping on BTL. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with a brand new BTL. Until then, we'll talk to you guys later.